So for number 1, if 2000 is our starting time, we have 55.3 million people, and it's a 10-year period. We're going to grow by 9%. So I'm going to say P is population in millions, and T is going to be years. Was a 10-year period. So I'm going to write 10-year period. So the population is the initial value, 1 plus R, so the rate as a decimal to the T. So simplifying that, it's 1.09. So changing that for each year, well, because we had T is in 10 years, there are 10 single years in the 10-year period. So I'm going to take my equation and the b value for the exponential gets raised to the 1/10, and then the exponent becomes 10t. So now on my calculator, I'm going to type 1.09 to the 1/10. Make sure you put parentheses around your exponent so that you get the correct decimal. And this is our equation. So if I look at the percent, I'm going to take this value, move my decimal 2 places. So that is 0.866% each year. So for number 2, in 2013, we had 68.5, and in 2015, we had 101. So now we have 2 coordinates. I'm going to set this up. I'm going to say year 0 is 68.5, and then 2 years later, we had 101. So to get my exponential equation, 68.5 times b squared is 101. We're going to divide both sides by 68.5. You have to use a calculator for this. And we get 1.4744, and it's a very long decimal, and it keeps going. So now when you solve for b, what you have to do is either square root both sides, or if we think about our last unit with the rational exponents, I can raise both sides to the 1/2 power. So in your calculator, make sure you take that entire decimal to the 1/2 power or the square root to get b is 1.214274. Then we have a, so our a value is here from our initial value. I'll say P again for population in millions, and T is 1 year time units. So for B, so P is the initial value, the B value we got, to the T. So now to do part B, where we're going to change that to each month, there are 12 months in the 1 year. So I'm going to change my equation. Then in my calculator, I'm going to take that decimal to the 1/12. Make sure to put parentheses around your exponent. So converting that to a decimal, we're going to move converting the decimal to a percent. We're going to move the decimal over 2 places, and that is 1.631% each month. Okay, so number 3, you have to be careful. They give us trillion as a unit and billion as a unit. So I'm going to convert the 2.109 trillion is 2,109 billion. Okay, so making a little table of value. In the first year, 2004, we had 56 billion. And then 2010 is 6 years later. So if you think how many places do we have to go from 0 to 6, we're going to do 56 times b to the 6th is 2,109. Now divide both sides by 56. Be careful that your 6's don't look like b's like mine. And now to solve for b, we're going to raise both sides to the 1/6. So b is 1.830. Oh, okay. So now to write my equation, and don't forget to define your variables. So I'm going to say P is text messages sent in billions, and T is time in 1 year increments. And there's our equation. So each week, there's 52 weeks in each year. So I'm going to change my exponent. Now we're going to calculate this in our calculator. So our new equation is 1.011698 to the 52t. So changing that to a percent, 1.1698% each week. Okay, and last but not least for the homework, so P is going to be the money in the account, and T is going to be time in 1 year time units. So P is $500, 1 plus 0.02 to the T. So I'm just going to combine my 1 plus 0.02. So each day, there's 365 days in a year. So 1.02 to the 1 divided by 365 is, there's 4 zeros there, 543. So moving the decimal 2 places, that's 0.00543% each day.